Believe it or not, Texas football actually got a win this weekend. 6 teams sit pretty at 0-3 in the NFL. Who can make the playoffs? And the AL wildcard race is really heating up down the stretch. Stay tuned. It's College Crossfire.
The hell's the rest of it? Taylor's not even here to defend himself.
I'm so excited.
Hello and welcome into another episode of College Crossfire. I'm your host, Jeff Barker. Before we begin, let's go ahead and meet our panel for tonight. To my immediate right, we have defending champion and veteran panelist Bryce Gibson. Bryce, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
And in the middle, we have Peter Splendorio. Peter, how you doing tonight? Also a veteran panelist.
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be back.
And the newcomer, fresh meat out here for you guys, Reese Miller. How you doing?
It's great to be here.
All right, looking forward to it. I guess I missed the memo on the Ralph Lauren polos.
Yeah, come on.
You didn't get my email.
All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and start with some Texas football. The Texas football team and their fans got a taste of victory this past Saturday after 2 consecutive losses when they defeated Kansas State 31-21 at home. The win helped the Longhorns avoid a 1-3 start on the season and momentarily took a little bit of pressure off the shoulders of Mack Brown and the rest of the coaching staff. The Longhorns showed improvement in almost every aspect of their game, but what impressed you guys the most about this win? Bryce, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Well, what I liked most was how the Longhorns actually dominated the trenches on both sides of the ball for the first time in a long time against a Big 12 opponent. And what I mean by that is the holes were wide open for Jonathan Gray to run through. He had a career day. Defensively, I think they had 3 or 4 sacks, and so they did really well like that. But I'm not going to all of a sudden jump on the UT bandwagon just yet. I'm going to wait until the OU game. I think that's the first test where we can see if this team is back on track. If they win that, then I think Texas has a good chance of winning the Big 12. But something I also want to look for is, we talked about it last week, Tyrone Swoops. We talked about how we needed to see him against Kansas State. Well, David Ash was healthy, so it was okay. We didn't need to see him. But now David Ash is out once again. So, I mean, if Ash is not ready for Iowa State, I think we definitely got to put Swoops in there because the season is still there for the taking. It's not dead yet. So, you know,
well, and they have a bye this weekend and then Thursday game. So,
right.
I mean, not full 2 weeks to prepare, but longer than one than the regular week.
Sure.
So. Peter, what do you think?
The biggest takeaway was definitely the improvement on the running game. You know what? The defense has been getting better every week. It had a great performance. But what was kind of lost with all the defensive struggles was how poorly the running game had been doing. I mean, this is a team that had the top 2 recruits from their respective draft classes in Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray. And they finally showed up this year. A lot of people thought this was going to be the biggest aspect of their success, the running game. And Jonathan Gray really broke out with his 141 yards, a career high, 2 touchdowns. Malcolm Brown was a nice second option. When those two and Jonathan Gray, along with Dejae Johnson, when they get him back, that's going to make a really, really good running game. And if that's firing on all cylinders, that's going to open up things for no matter who the quarterback is.
All right, like the point you made there about that, the running game opening up the passing game for whoever's there. I like that point. Reese, what do you think?
It comes down to you really, really have to be impressed with Jonathan Gray and Malcolm Brown. The guys averaged over 6 yards per carry and over 4 yards for Malcolm Brown. You also have to be impressed with the way the defense reacted to the quarterback run game that had been really dominating this UT team. You had Ole Miss and BYU quarterbacks running all over this Texas defense. Meanwhile, Daniel Sams and Jake Waters came in. They shut these guys down on all aspects of the game. John Hubert didn't have anywhere to go, and the defense did a great job creating a couple turnovers. But what you have to be most impressed about is in the second half when David Ash is out and you get some controversy going, some adversity. This team found a way to come through and get it done against a K-State team that had honestly had their number for a long time. It's a great win, great way to get back on track, but the season's still there, but we're not where we need to be yet.
All righty. Well, I mean, I like the point all you guys made. Just real quick, how far do you guys think Texas can go in the Big 12?
They're not going to win the Big 12. I think they'll be lucky to finish 7-5, honestly. I mean, Kansas State's probably one of the bottom 2 or 3 teams in this conference, so we didn't still learn a lot from that game, I don't think.
Okay.
Texas is probably going to finish no better than 4th behind Oklahoma, OSU, and Baylor. And I think that's because the defense still has some issues. It was pretty obvious which quarterback was going to run and which was going to pass when they brought in Daniel Sams or Jake Waters. And I think because of that, we still have a lot of room to improve on defense.
All right, Reese, real quick, how far do you think they can go?
they can go as far as David Ash takes them, or whoever is able to step up at the quarterback position. It's not going to be Case McCoy. If David Ash can't go, you've got to see Tyrone Swoop step in there and see these guys get it done. I don't think they can win the Big 12.
Okay. Well, you guys, I mean, all similar points right there, but all good points. So I have to start everyone out with a point right here.
I love when that happens.
Great, I'll take it.
So from DKR to the MLB, we're going to talk AL wildcard now. 2 weeks ago on the show, we first talked about the hotly contested AL wildcard race, and 2 of our 3 panelists thought the Texas Rangers would hold on to their lead and clinch a playoff berth. But the Rangers now find themselves in a 3-team race, 1 game behind the Cleveland Indians and the Tampa Bay Rays. With only 4 days left to play in the season, how will this wildcard race play out? Peter, we'll start with you on this one.
Well, the Rangers are not going to make the playoffs, and that's because it's going to stay exactly the same. They would have to catch Tampa. They're not going to catch Cleveland, even though they're only 1 game back of the Indians. The Indians have 4 games coming up against the Twins. They've been beating up their division. They've been the hottest team of these 3 this month. The Rangers, on the other hand, have been cold as can be. They're going to be 8-15 this month after their win tonight against the Astros. Not going to get it done. Second straight season, they've slumped in September, and I think Ron Washington might be on the hot seat because of it.
So you think it's going to be Rays and Indians?
I think the Rays will hold on. I think the Indians will get it. I think if the Rangers were to catch somebody, it would be the Rays. But I think ultimately the Rays are playing the Blue Jays, and the Angels are the toughest team left that any of these teams have to play. I don't think the Rangers can win all 4 against them.
Okay. Reese?
This one hurts me as a hometown Rangers fan. However, for the 2nd straight year, the Rangers have collapsed. They started in September with a 2-game lead over the Oakland A's. They're now 7 games back. The A's have clinched the West. The Rays will hold on even though they've been in a slump. The Cleveland Indians are one of the hotter teams in baseball. As Peter said, they've got the Twins left. The Rangers are going to come home in Arlington, which hasn't been great for them, unfortunately. They're going to play the Angels, who are probably going to end their season. Ron Washington's mantra has been, treat the game right, it will treat you right. They haven't executed at all, and it's going to cost Ron Washington his job after the Rangers do not make the playoffs.
Okay, saying Ron Washington on the hot seat now.
That's
all
right.
Reese?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to, reiterate everything these guys are saying, but I mean, after, the Rangers, like Peter said, they're 8-15, but that's after 3 wins over the Astros. Before that, they were 5-15. That's just unheard of, man. That's the 2nd worst record in the entire MLB in that month. And you just look at like what the Indians are doing compared to what the Rangers are doing. The Rangers are chasing the Indians. Indians are coming off of a walk-off home run from Jason Giambi. I didn't even know that guy was still alive. I hate to say it, but he hits a walk-off home run last night to keep the lead. Meanwhile, the Rangers are losing on a walk-off grand slam to the Royals, and they just have all the momentum. The Rangers are just beat up. They're coming off of a 2011 collapse in the World Series, a 2012 collapse to Oakland, losing the division, and now they're having another terrible collapse in September. I mean, can you hear that? It's the window of opportunity slamming shut on the Rangers. They're not going to be back in the World Series for another 5-10 years.
Okay.
It's bad.
Well, I like the point Reese made about Ron Washington maybe being on the hot seat. Maybe first time on Crossfire, and you're making some big moves here. So Reese is going to go ahead and get the point here. And we're going to make this one quick, but we're going to talk a little bit of golf. The world's #1 golfer, Tiger Woods, started the Tour Championship this past Thursday, ranked #1 in the PGA Tour's FedEx Cup standings. He ultimately finished tied for 22nd on Sunday and in the 2nd spot of the final FedEx Cup standings for the season behind Henrik Stenson. After the tournament, Tiger said he was, quote, very satisfied with his performance. So with 5 wins on the season, but no wins in any of the major championships, should Tiger be satisfied with the way he performed this year? Reese, we'll start with you.
Guys, let's remember, Tiger Woods has not won a major championship since the 2008 U.S. Open. It has been a rough go of him. He's had the injuries. He had the fallout. He's back. He's the #1 golfer in the world right now, but he's only contended in 2 of the 4 majors this season. He does have the 5 win. He's still the #1 in the world, but he's lost leads. He's, quite frankly, played badly in the big-time matches, and until he wins another major, he's not going to be back, and he shouldn't be satisfied.
Okay. Bryce?
Yeah, it's really surprising to hear him say something that he is okay with this performance this season when Tiger set his own standards of, if you don't win a major, it used to be if he didn't win 2 majors, it was a bust. And like you said, he hasn't won one since 2008, and prior to that, his biggest drought was only 2 years, and it didn't even matter because the year before that drought and the year after, he won multiple majors in those years. And so it's very shocking to hear such a competitor like Tiger Woods say that he's okay with the performance, and it's very surprising to me.
I find it a little odd as well. And Peter, what do you think?
I'm going to have to disagree, and that's just because I'm keeping things in perspective here. He's won more tournaments than anybody else this year. He's back to the #1 golfer. He's still making his money, and he's proving to everybody he's still the top guy on the golf course. I think that, there's the window of opportunity, as you said, maybe closing for him to catch Jack Nicklaus, the Majors championship run, but you know what? He should be happy because anybody would trade this season with him.
Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and give Peter the point here. I think, when you look at Tiger's wins, we all know no majors, but he won 2 World Golf Championships, and then he won what is widely considered the 5th major in golf, the PGA, or the Players Championship, sorry. So, Peter, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on this one. I'm going to give you the point. So, coming up next on College Crossfire, we're going to talk winless teams in the NFL, Floyd Mayweather thanks Johnny Manziel, and some more baseball. Stay tuned. Thanks for sticking with us tonight on College Crossfire. Before we continue with the second round of questions, let's get a quick score update here. To my immediate right, we have Bryce, the defending champion, sitting at 1. Still a long way to go, Bryce. Yeah. Peter and Reese. Reese, the newcomer, Peter, the veteran, both tied atop the lead with 2. So, guys, we already talked AL wildcard race, so now let's switch gears and discuss the NL a little bit. With less than a week left to play in the Major League Baseball season, all 5 playoff spots have been claimed to the National League. The Dodgers and Braves clinched a playoff berth by winning their respective division titles, while the Cardinals, Reds, and Pirates are still battling it out for who will seal the NL Central Division title, and who will have to play the one-game wildcard playoff. So, panelists, what potential matchup are you guys most looking forward to on the National League side of the playoff bracket? Bryce, we'll start with you on this one.
I've got to say, I'm really excited about these National League playoffs. You see a lot of new faces. The defending champs, the Giants, are out. The Phillies, a team that kind of dominated the NL for a long time, they're no longer in it. And you've got teams like the Pirates, who haven't been in over a decade. The Dodgers, who haven't been in since 2009 and had a losing record back in July, which is real interesting. The Cincinnati Reds, they haven't been in. So there's going to be a lot of excitement for these teams that haven't been in a while, especially for the Pirates. I think I'm most excited to see them play. The Cardinals win the division. I think that's pretty obvious. They have a 3-game lead with 5 to go. And so I'm really excited for the Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds wild card playoff game. They're division rivals. Both teams are, kind of not used to this experience of being in the postseason.
Finishing the season right now playing each other as well.
Right. So there's going to be a carryover of whoever wins that series, is going to have momentum. The losers are going to be mad. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, especially if it's in Pittsburgh, because that is a really cool looking ballpark. Those fans have been dying for a winning team for a long time. I think it's going to be a lot like when the Rangers made it to the playoffs in 2010. They hadn't been in over a decade, and the atmosphere, if you can remember watching ballpark in Arlington, was great because those fans were thirsty for a playoff series, and they got it. Same thing in Pittsburgh, and I'm really excited to watch that game.
Okay, I like that point, Bryce. Peter?
The one thing I'll agree with you is that they do have an awesome ballpark with downtown right over there. Probably the coolest ballpark in baseball. But the matchup I'm most looking forward to is whoever's playing the Dodgers. Right now, that would be the Braves. But the Dodgers are must-watch television, and that's because Yasiel Puig is the most exciting player in baseball. Only 22 years old. He exhilarated this franchise. He got them back where they needed to be. And let's not forget, they still have the best pitcher in baseball in Clayton Kershaw and the best number 2 starter in Zach Greinke. I would hate to have to play this team in a short series because that could very well be 2 shutout performances by both starting pitchers. That is a team with a pretty good lineup as well. Matt Kemp hopefully can stay healthy for it. But you know what? Regardless, Puig and that rotation might be enough to get it done, and I can't wait to watch them.
Being a Dodgers fan, you saying
I know who's getting that point
right there, Peter. Reese, what do you got?
I'm just super excited to watch this great Major League Baseball playoff in the National League side. You've got sort of an old school feel with the Reds back in it. It's sort of like a 70s, 80s type throwback kind of feel here. You got the Pirates, who remember their last winning season was over 20 years ago. So it's going to be a huge atmosphere. Those fans are going to be insane. I'd say I'm most looking forward to any matchup with the Dodgers or the Pirates. Both those ballparks are going to go nuts. It's going to be a throwback, great type of baseball. And I think the Dodgers are the favorites going in with a ridiculous lineup, better starting pitching than anyone in baseball. But the Pirates at PNC Park, that stadium is going to be unreal. It's going to be awesome to watch, and I'm excited for it.
Jeff, I think the Dodgers will win the World Series, for the record. I'm just saying that if you want to, have something to chew on.
Our producer Bailey's saying right here, I can't give Bryce points for that. But I am. She didn't say no points for Peter, so I'm going to give Peter the points there. But all biases for the Dodgers aside, I did like the point you made about their short series playing against the Dodgers right now. That's not good for anyone with that rotation.
Clayton Kershaw is too good.
Absolutely, and Zach Greinke, you said it. So Peter, you're going to go ahead and get the point there.
Cool.
Sorry, Bryce.
Blame
Bailey for that one.
I tried. Yeah.
All right, so this past Saturday, world champion boxer Floyd Money Mayweather was making his money outside the ring when he tweeted a picture of a receipt from a bet in which he won $220,000 off of one half of the Texas A&M SMU football game. Mayweather captioned the tweet, quote, "Congratulations at J Manziel 2 for putting on a fantastic show. He may not be able to make money off himself, but I can.
Ooh.
Mayweather's six-figure come-up once again brings up the controversial question, should college athletes be paid? Peter, we'll start with you.
Yes, college athletes should absolutely be paid, and that's because they are the biggest moneymaker of a billion-dollar company that is the NCAA. When you look at it, these are the guys that are people wanting to watch. They don't want to watch the coaches. They don't want to watch the decision makers in the front office. They want to watch the players. They're the ones drawing in on this money. I saw a stat yesterday that Texas players are worth nearly $600,000, and the average scholarship is under $40,000. I mean, that is tremendous value. These teams are just ripping off their players, and players don't even have the option to just go straight to the pros. I mean, they're forced in the NFL and the NBA, the two biggest sports, they're forced to go to college, risking their career. Garrett Gilbert could have been a first-round NFL pick. Instead, he's not going to make the NFL.
Well, I think that's his own fault. But a very good point. Reese.
Sorry, Peter, I'm going to have to disagree on this one. I think in the modern sport of college athletics, there's absolutely no way you can figure out a certain system where college athletes can be paid. There's no way. It's going to turn into almost a New York Yankee style in college where the schools with the most money get all the great players. Recruiting will be out the window, and the integrity of the football game is lost. People love college football because the players play it for their school, for their love of the game, and it's not professional. It's a huge business, but there's no way. Maybe naming rights, there's a spot for that. But in terms of college players having a salary, it's not right. It's not the way it's meant to be.
Absolutely, and it's always hard to figure. Who gets paid? Do walk-ons get paid?
Exactly.
Do only the starters get paid? So workers' compensation. There's a lot of things you got to consider when paying players. Bryce.
It's a tough point to talk about in just a short amount of time, but I think that they should be paid. And in the counterpoint to that about how it wouldn't be, it's for the love of the game and stuff like that. I don't really buy into that. I think that regardless of if players are getting paid or not, people are still going to want to watch because you're still going to have that same system. What people really care about in college football is having a playoff system. They don't care about paying or not. They just want to have a postseason at the end where they duke it out. So if they're getting paid or not, it doesn't matter. And these players are risking their bodies for injury. Like what we pointed out, they have to play in college, not just 1 year like in the college of basketball, but 3 years. And Jordan Hicks, for an example, that guy probably could have been in the NFL this past year. He's now missed 2 seasons in a row. His draft stock is plummeting right now because scouts haven't been able to see him because he's been hurt twice, and people are going to overlook him because there's no film to look at him. And it stinks how it works out, but he should at least be compensated with payment, because he's going to lose out on some money because of this.
Should have bought that insurance policy. I want to go ahead and give Bryce a point here. I like the point that you made just now about Jordan Hicks and draft stock plummeting and losing a bunch of money. That is a very tough loss for the Longhorns and for Jordan himself. So, with 3 weeks left in the NFL season, with 3 weeks of the NFL season in the books, there's 6 teams that are still winless on the season. The Steelers, Vikings, Redskins, Giants, Jaguars, and Buccaneers are all 0-3. We rarely see teams start this poorly and eventually go on to make the playoffs. But which team has the best chance of turning things around and ultimately making the playoffs? Reese, we'll start with you at the end.
Honestly, since 1990, when the NFL expanded to 12 teams in the playoffs, only 3 teams have started 0-3 and have gone on to make the playoffs. And this year, there's not going to be. This year, there's not going to be any of them doing it. I would say out of the teams remaining, don't count out the Washington Redskins. Remember, they were 3-6 a year ago. Yeah. They went on to make the playoffs and have a great run until that wild card game. You look at the Giants; they have no running game. Steelers, no running game, and the other teams are really pretty abysmal. You look at the Vikings; they don't have a quarterback.
So are you saying no one?
I'm saying no one. I would say the Redskins have the best chance out of anyone.
Okay, but
don't count them out. Correct.
Okay, all righty. Peter? Bryce.
No, yeah, Redskins, I really like the point about them going 3-6. Let's not forget they won 7 straight games last year. But that's tough to do twice in the NFL, so I like their odds. But if there's going to be a team, I'm actually going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just because if they can get their offense looks terrible right now. I will admit that. They look awful. But if they can get their running back, I think Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, get him back and healthy. That might give them a spark they need, and I think maybe they can have a miracle run and get back in it.
And Peter, real quick.
Well, I think it definitely has to be a team from the NFC East because the NFC East is a winnable division. And I'm telling you, it's going to be the Giants. We saw that image of Eli scowling. He's not going to be scowling much longer because he's the best quarterback left in this group. This is a passing league. He has the best receiving core with Victor Cruz, Hakeem Nicks, Ruben Randall. So if any of this team is going to do it, it's going to be the Giants because they play in the easiest division in football and they have the best quarterback, so they're prepared for it.
And running backs that wouldn't start in Division I college as well.
No worries.
It seems like everybody's in disagreement, but once again, I am agreeing with Peter on this one. I mean, the NFC least or East, so I mean, everybody's struggling in that division right now. So
Except the
I'm going to go ahead and give
Cowboys.
Peter the point on
Hey.
this one. I think the Giants have the best chance, and I never count out Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning. All right, well, coming up next, it's everyone's favorite segment, Rapid Fire. On the agenda, we're talking a little real estate and even a surprise pool party. Stay here. It's College Crossfire. Welcome back to College Crossfire. Before we get into our rapid fire segment, let's get another quick score update here. To my right, we got Bryce sitting at 1 right now. Or 2, sorry, 2.
Come on, I earned that
Didn't
second
count on my
one.
note card. Sorry about that. You did
Proud of
earn that
those
one.
2
I remember
points.
that.
Proud of
Peter has a commanding lead right now with 4, but anything can happen. And Reese, the newcomer, got 2. Alrighty, guys. Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Our first rapid fire question comes from the basketball legend Larry Bird. According to his agent, Joe Leone, Larry Bird is selling his retirement mansion in Naples, Florida. Apparently, Bird is selling the house because he won't have much downtime now that he has reclaimed his position as president of basketball operations for the Indiana Pacers. And now, panelists, this is going to be a question here. It's going to be a little closest to the pin type guessing game. So I'm going to give you a small description of the house and read another description from the realtor. And from there, you will all guess how much you think Bird is putting this house on the market for. And whoever's guess is closest to the real number will get the points. So the house has 4 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, and has an overall lot size of 6,000 square feet. Now here's a direct quote from the realtor. Featuring custom detail throughout, along with a fabulous gourmet kitchen and 4 full bedrooms. Exceptional highlights include spectacular saltwater aquarium as the backdrop to an exciting full-service bar, state-of-the-art home theater, and a charming tiki hut with thatched roof and summer kitchen that provide a tropical ambiance nestled waterside overlooking the Infinity Edge pool and sparkling bay.
Oh my goodness.
Glad I got that all out. So, panelists, how much is this house on the market for?
Well, how much does a resort cost? Because that's what it sounds like. 95 million.
95 million?
95 million. Okay.
Wow,
Getting
okay,
up there.
Bryce.
I'm going
Bryce
getting
is
up there.
95, Peter?
I'm going to go a little bit more humble, 5 million.
5 million, okay. Peter says 5.
Since this is the price is right, and if you go over, you're gone, I'm taking $1 for the win.
$1? are you trying to lose this race? Reese says, so we
This is
got
the price is
95
right.
million. Peter wins this one. It's 4.8 million, guys.
Right on.
Yeah, you were
close.
very close. Peter's going to go ahead and get 2
I might
points.
have a
and
future in real estate.
I was
he
close.
is
If you
taking
go over,
a
you're out.
commanding lead with 6 points.
Oh, great.
So moving on to the MLB again. This past Thursday, the Los Angeles Dodgers clinched the NL West title and a playoff berth with a 7-6 win over the Arizona Diamondbacks in Arizona. After popping champagne and celebrating for about an hour in the locker room, a few Dodger players decided to relocate the party to the D-backs outfield pool located right behind center field, even after multiple members of the Chase Field staff urged them not to. As a result, the move has been criticized by members of the D-backs and other figures around baseball as being a classless move. So the question here is, guys, do you see this move as an innocent celebration or as a classless move? Anybody can jump in on this one.
I don't see it as a problem at all because the Diamondbacks are the same organization that played New York after Game 6 in the 2001 World Series after beating the Yankees just 2 months after 9/11. Very, very, very senseless act. So I think they're the last ones that should be criticizing a celebration.
Wait, what did they do? What did they do?
They played
Bringing the mood down.
They played New York, just 2 months after 9/11.
You can't tell me this is not classless. Sandy Koufax would be turning over in his grave if he saw the Dodger blue going into another team's pool and just hopping in there like it's a game. I mean, granted, the Diamondbacks cannot be mad because they should have won the division if they're going to be upset about their pool, but it's still classless. It's celebrating a division championship. I mean,
Sandy Koufax is still alive.
in his baseball career. In his baseball career.
In his baseball career.
He's still alive.
Bryce.
That's a bad move. I mean, teams get mad when they just see you celebrate on their field. You know, if they just see you dogpile, that makes them mad, even though it's, it makes sense. So jumping in their pool and it's your division rival, the Diamondbacks are going to remember this for next year, and they're going to be really fired up to play the Dodgers, in the series next year.
I'm going to agree with Bryce on this one. I thought it was kind of cool, especially since my team's seeing him, celebrate like that. It's pretty cool. But I'm going to have to agree with Bryce on this one. He's going to get the 2 points. They probably shouldn't have done it. And the D-backs are going to remember this.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to come at the Dodgers hard next year. So Bryce is going to get the points. All right, guys, and our last rapid fire segment comes courtesy of our producers, Bailey and Jordan. So last week we tried to get you guys to do a simple touchdown dance, and you all failed miserably. Luckily, Lions rookie tight end Joseph Foria provided us with some new material this week when he celebrated his touchdown dance with some iconic instant choreography. Take a look at this video, panelists, and I'm going to give you guys one last chance to perform a quality touchdown dance. And in honor of your theoretical touchdowns, this last question will be worth 6 points. And no, you cannot do the classy thing and hand the ball to the ref, Bryce.
Okay, well. Go ahead, guys.
Do we have to actually?
Anybody?
Do we actually have to do the dance?
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, I didn't even see the dance.
Peter's ready. Peter's ready.
This is a number from Soulja Boy. You might remember.
Wait, Soldier. I thought we had. I thought we had to do. No, that's not in
No. Your touchdown dance.
Just any. I don't.
Reese, Bryce, you guys got anything?
Little combing it back.
Oh, okay.
End zone.
Okay. No, I like that. Bryce, you got anything? You got?
I don't
You got a
know,
couple-
man.
no, nothing?
I'm not. I'm just gonna retire
All right,
on this
well,
one. I'm sorry.
Peter already with the commanding lead. He's going to take the 6 points. He's going to go to 12. I'm sorry, Peter. We don't have any time for FaceTime right now. You know,
Ooh.
just took
That's all right.
too long. You know,
I would-
discussing some great sports earlier. So sorry about that, Peter. But will you be on next week?
I'll be on next week.
All righty, we'll see you next week.
Forward to it.
All right, well, folks, like I said, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Catch us right here on TSTV every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. And for all the latest in UT sports, tune in to College Press Box Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. For everyone in the studio, the panel, Master Control, myself, good night. It's College Crossfire.